If you've ever used an AI chatbot, then you've actually been doing prompt engineering. It's really become the crucial skill of our time, how we talk to AI. But what's so fascinating is that what started out as this creative, kind of fuzzy art is now evolving really fast into a hard science. So let's dive into that transformation.
All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with the art of the prompt, then get into techniques that actually get you better results. We'll debunk some common myths you've probably seen online, then we'll explore the darker side of things with prompt hacking. And finally, we'll look ahead to what's next, the automated future of prompting.
So first things first, let's start right at the beginning. What in the world is prompt engineering, really? And why has it suddenly become such a critical field almost overnight? What's pretty cool is that this definition here actually comes from an AI itself. It calls prompt engineering the art of communicating with a generative large language model, or LLM. And that just nails it, right? It's not just about firing off questions. It's about how you communicate effectively to get what you want. And that leads us to the role of the prompt engineer, which I gotta say, I love this description, an LLM wrangler. It's such a great analogy. You're not just commanding something, you're guiding this incredibly powerful, kind of wild entity to get a desired result. You're a translator, turning a human problem into a language the AI gets, and then translating its response back into something useful. But here's the thing, not all prompting is created equal. As expert Sander Schulhoff points out, there are really two main types. Over on the left, you've got conversational prompting. That's what most of us do, right? You're in a chatbot, going back and forth, tweaking your request. But on the right, that's product-focused prompting. That's where an engineer might spend weeks perfecting one single prompt that an app is going to use millions of times. The stakes are just completely different. A mistake for us is an annoyance. A mistake there could mess things up for millions of people. Okay, let's get to the good stuff, the part you can actually start using today. We're going to build a little practical toolkit of techniques that are proven to get better results from pretty much any AI model you use. We're going to zoom in on 3 of the most powerful techniques out there. First, few-shot prompting, which is all about giving good examples. Then, decomposition, which is a fancy way of saying break it down. And finally, self-criticism, where you cleverly get the AI to check its own homework. I mean, come on. We've all done this, right? You just paste a big chunk of text into the box and type something like, make this better or improve. It's a classic low-effort prompt, and you usually get a pretty generic, unhelpful answer back because, well, you haven't given the AI any real direction. Okay, now let's flip the script and look at this technique. Few-shot prompting. It's called few-shot because you're giving the AI a few examples or shots of what you want. See here? You're not just asking the question, you're also providing a perfect example of how to answer it. And that little phrase, let's think step by step, that's gold. You're showing the AI how to reason. It's a perfect example of showing, not just telling. Next up, we've got decomposition. This one is a lifesaver for complex tasks. If a problem is too big, the AI can get confused or miss things. So you just ask it to break the problem down for you first. It forces the AI to think more logically, and honestly, it can even help you clarify your own thinking. Once it lists out the steps, you just tell it to solve them one by one. It's a super powerful way to handle complexity. And our last one, this one's so simple, but man, is it effective. It's called self-criticism. All you do is, after the AI gives you an answer, you just ask it to review its own work. Something like, can you check that and reflect on your answer? You'd be surprised. It'll often find its own mistakes or suggest improvements. Then you just tell it to implement its own suggestions. It's like having a built-in editor. So, we've covered what actually works. But you know the internet. It's just flooded with so-called viral tricks and prompting hacks. Let's talk about a couple that, well, you can probably just ignore. Yeah, you've probably seen these floating around, right? People promising to tip the AI $5 or creating these wild, dramatic scenarios. Look, these might have had some small, weird effects on much older models. But for modern AIs like GPT-4, there are no solid studies that prove they work reliably. So the takeaway is pretty clear. Save your virtual dollars. A clear, well-structured prompt is always going to beat threats and bribes. Okay, so now we need to kind of shift gears and talk about something a little more serious. Prompting isn't just about getting better stories or code. It can also be used for some pretty malicious stuff. Basically, to hack the AI itself. This really gets to the heart of AI security, doesn't it? What happens when a person's goal isn't to work with the AI, but to trick it, to manipulate it into breaking its own safety rules?
Well, that's when we enter the world of prompt injection.
This is what's known as prompt injection. And really, you should think of it just like any other security vulnerability. Hackers, or what they call red teamers in this space, will craft these incredibly clever prompts designed to bypass all the safety filters and get the AI to do things it was specifically told not to do.
And look, the consequences here are really, really serious. A successful prompt injection can be used to generate hate speech, to write convincing phishing emails, even to write computer viruses. And as we move towards a world where AIs are agents that can actually do things, like book flights or manage money, the threat gets way bigger. This isn't just a theory. It's a huge safety problem that all the major AI labs are desperately trying to solve right now.
Okay, so if prompting by hand is this powerful tool, but also, a huge security risk, where does the field go from here? Well, the answer seems to be automation. Because the biggest challenge with prompt engineering today, even for the pros, is that it's still a very manual art form. It's a lot of intuition, a ton of trial and error, it's slow, it's messy, and it just doesn't scale well at all.
So, the future? Well, it's all about automation. Instead of humans trying to guess the best words to use, we're building programs that can learn how to prompt the AI for us. This is that big shift we talked about at the beginning, from prompt engineering as an art to prompt programming as a science.
And a perfect example of this whole shift is a framework that came out of Stanford called DSPY. It's a total game changer. Instead of thinking of a prompt as just a fixed piece of text, DSPY treats it like a programmable pipeline. It has a special compiler that can automatically test and optimize all kinds of different prompting strategies to find the absolute best one for any task you give it. And honestly, the results are just staggering. I mean, look at this. This shows how much better DSP's automated approach is compared to just standard manual prompting. For a model like GPT 3.5, you're looking at a 25% boost. But for Llama 2, it's over 65%. That's massive. It's definitive proof that the future of talking to AI is going to be less about human guesswork and way more about systematic automated optimization. And that kind of leaves us with this one big final thought to chew on. As machines get better and better at talking to other machines, what happens to our role in that conversation? Does automating the art of the prompt free us up for bigger, more creative ideas? Or does it, in a way, distance us from the very act of communication itself? That's the huge question we're all going to be wrestling with as this science continues to evolve.